The greatest turning point in a person's life does not begin with money, talent, or connections. It begins with a decision. A single decision has the power to redirect the entire path of your future. Every story of transformation, every success you admire, and every breakthrough in history started the same way. Someone finally said, "Enough is enough, I will change." That one choice, though it may seem small at the time, carries the weight of destiny. The truth is, most people drift through life without ever truly deciding what they want. They wait for opportunities to knock. They wait for luck to show up. They wait for someone else to hand them the answer. But life does not reward waiting. It rewards choosing. You can wait 10 years and find yourself in the same place, repeating the same complaints, living with the same limitations, because waiting does nothing. The moment you decide, however, you ignite a spark. Decision is the act of cutting away all other options and declaring, "This is the direction I will go." That clarity alone can unleash a force within you that was asleep the whole time. Think about it. A person can live years wishing they had better health, but until they decide to change their habits, nothing happens. A person can dream about starting a business, but until they decide to take the first step, the dream stays locked in their mind. Decision is the bridge between wishing and doing. Without it, you remain a spectator of your own life. With it, you step into the role of creator. And here's the fascinating thing: once a real decision is made, the how begins to reveal itself. People often hesitate because they don't know the full path. They think, "I'll decide once I know how to do it." But that's backwards. You don't wait for the full map before you take the journey. You decide where you're going, and then the path unfolds. Every successful person will tell you they didn't have all the answers when they started. What they had was a decision so firm that they refused to turn back. That commitment forced them to discover the answers along the way. Now, decision is not the same as a wish. Wishing says, "I hope one day." Decision says, "I will, no matter what it takes." That is why so many people remain stuck in the land of wishes. Wishes are free. Decisions cost you something. They demand that you let go of excuses, that you stop blaming your past, that you silence your doubts and fears. A true decision calls for courage because it requires action. If there is no action, it was never a decision. It was just a hope dressed in disguise. When you decide, you give yourself permission to move forward. You release the chains of hesitation. Every great athlete, every great leader, every great inventor, at some point they stood at the crossroads of fear and doubt. They had reasons to quit, reasons to delay, reasons to say, "Not now." But they decided anyway. And that single act of courage created momentum. That's the beauty of decision. Once you move, momentum builds. Small steps begin to accumulate, and soon you are far from where you started. But none of it begins until you decide. And here's the sobering truth: indecision is also a decision. When you refuse to choose, you are choosing to stay where you are. When you delay, you are deciding to waste time. When you hesitate, you are deciding to give fear the driver's seat. Life does not pause for indecision. Every day you wait, the clock is still ticking and opportunities are slipping by. You cannot stop time, but you can stop wasting it by deciding. The power of decision is not just about career, money, or success. It reaches every area of life. Decide to be kind and you change the way people respond to you. Decide to be disciplined and you alter your health, your wealth, your energy. Decide to learn and you expand your mind, opening doors you didn't know existed. Decide to love and you transform relationships. The smallest choice in one moment can ripple across a lifetime. That is why the act of deciding is sacred. It shapes who you become. Think of decision like planting a seed. When you decide, you put something into the ground of your life. You may not see the fruit immediately, but the seed is alive. Every action that follows waters it. Over time, the seed grows into something visible, something real, something that others can see. But it all begins with the invisible moment when you planted it. Without that first decision, nothing grows. So here's the challenge: ask yourself, what have you been putting off? Where have you been waiting instead of deciding? Is it your health, your finances, your relationships, your personal growth? The future you want is not waiting for perfect timing. It is waiting for you to decide. And once you do, you'll find that life begins to align with your commitment. People show up, resources appear, ideas spark, doors open. It feels almost magical, but it is not magic. It is the natural consequence of a firm decision backed by action. At the end of your life, you will not regret the chances you took. You will regret the decisions you never made, the risks you never embraced, the dreams you left on the shelf. Don't let hesitation rob you of your future. Stand firm today and say, "This is what I will do. This is who I will become." And from that moment on, your life will begin to change, not because of luck, not because of chance, but because you decided. Success has always been misunderstood by those who wait for luck to knock on their door. People sit back, cross their fingers and hope fortune finds them. But life does not work that way. The truth is, luck is unpredictable, rare, and fleeting, while discipline is steady, reliable, and within your control. If you are building a future, you cannot build it on chance. You must build it on discipline. Luck is a spark that comes and goes, but discipline is the fire that burns consistently. It is the real engine of progress, the invisible force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Discipline means doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It means showing up when excuses whisper in your ear. It means trading comfort now for growth later. Success is not about talent alone. The world is full of talented people who never rise beyond mediocrity because they lack discipline. Talent can open a door, but only discipline will keep it open. And when talent fails, discipline carries you through. Imagine two people with the same dream. One waits for luck, hoping circumstances will line up perfectly. The other chooses discipline, waking up early, putting in the work, staying consistent. At first, the difference seems small. After a week, maybe no one notices. After a month, the disciplined person is a step ahead. After a year, they are miles apart. And after 10 years, the one who waited for luck can barely recognize the life of the one who built on discipline. Success compounds over time, and discipline is the interest that multiplies your efforts. The problem is that discipline is often uncomfortable. People resist it because it demands effort, sacrifice, and persistence. It asks you to skip the distractions that feel good now for the results that feel great later. That is why discipline is rare, because it costs something. But ask yourself, what costs more? The discomfort of discipline today, or the regret of wishing you had been disciplined years from now? Regret is heavier than discipline. Regret lingers, while discipline rewards you with pride and freedom. When you live with discipline, you build trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on a promise you make to yourself, you strengthen your confidence. You prove to yourself that you are reliable, that you are in control, that you are capable of becoming who you want to be. That trust cannot be bought, and it cannot be faked. It is earned one disciplined choice at a time. Without it, self-doubt grows stronger. With it, your belief in yourself becomes unshakable. People often point to others and say, they're just lucky. But if you look closely, their so-called luck usually came from years of disciplined preparation. The athlete who seems to perform effortlessly has trained in silence for thousands of hours. The entrepreneur who, suddenly, became successful has endured years of sacrifice, rejection, and persistence. What looks like luck is usually discipline wearing a disguise. The opportunities came because they were ready, and readiness is the fruit of discipline. Now, discipline is not about perfection. You will stumble. You will miss a day, make mistakes, fall short. But discipline is not about never failing. It is about never quitting. It is about returning to the path again and again, no matter how many times you slip. Consistency beats intensity. One small disciplined habit practiced daily is far more powerful than a burst of effort once in a while. Over time, small daily disciplines carve out extraordinary results. Think of discipline as a form of freedom. At first, it feels restrictive. You must say no to temptations, no to laziness, no to distractions. But soon you realize discipline frees you. It frees you from the chains of regret, the weight of wasted time, the frustration of unfulfilled potential. It gives you freedom in your health, because discipline in eating and exercise creates strength. It gives you freedom in your finances, because discipline in spending and saving creates stability. It gives you freedom in your mind, because discipline in learning and focus creates wisdom. The temporary discomfort of discipline is nothing compared to the lasting freedom it produces. Every day, life offers you a choice of discipline or regret. Discipline is hard now, but rewarding later. Regret is easy now, but painful later. Choose discipline, and your future self will thank you. Choose regret, and your future self will wonder why you wasted so much time. The path of discipline is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is not loud, but it is effective. It may not make you popular today, but it will make you respected tomorrow. So do not wait for luck. Do not wait for the stars to align. Do not hope someone rescues you. Luck may visit, but discipline will stay. Build your life on what you can control, not on what you cannot. Each morning you wake up is another chance to choose discipline. Each moment of temptation is another chance to prove to yourself that your goals matter more than your comfort. Step by step, day by day, you will see your life transform. Not by magic, not by luck, but by the steady, unstoppable power of discipline. Excuses are easy. They require no effort, no courage, and no responsibility. Anyone can point to their past, their circumstances, or the world around them, and explain why they are not where they want to be. Excuses are the language of average. The comfort of those who would rather stay the same than face the discomfort of change. But responsibility, taking full ownership of your life, is the mark of those who grow, achieve, and rise above. Responsibility says, my life is my doing. If it is to improve, I must improve. If it is to change, I must change. That shift in mindset is what separates the successful from the stagnant. Blame is one of the greatest thieves of human potential. People blame their parents for not giving them enough, their boss for not recognizing them, their government for not supporting them, or their past for limiting them. And while every one of those may hold some truth, blame is powerless. You cannot control your parents, your boss, your government, or your past. If your future is tied to things outside your control, you will live frustrated and helpless. But when you claim responsibility, you place the steering wheel back in your own hands. Responsibility gives you power, because it shifts your focus to what you can do, not what others failed to do. Taking responsibility does not mean everything that happens to you is your fault. Life will always bring circumstances you did not choose, loss, setbacks, challenges, even tragedies. But responsibility says, though I did not choose this, I will choose my response. Though I cannot control the storm, I can control how I sail my ship. This is the essence of personal power, not control over everything, but control over yourself. And that control is enough to change everything. Excuses may feel comfortable in the short term, but they are destructive in the long term. They relieve you from action today, but cost you results tomorrow. The person who says, I don't have time, gives away their power. Everyone has the same 24 hours. It's not about time, it's about priorities. The one who says, I don't have the resources, misses the truth that resourcefulness is more valuable than resources. History is full of stories of people who began with nothing but responsibility and built something extraordinary. The excuse maker sees obstacles. The responsible person sees opportunities to grow. Responsibility also means accepting the results of your choices. If you eat poorly, your health will reflect it. If you spend recklessly, your finances will reveal it. If you procrastinate, your opportunities will shrink. Life keeps a perfect scorecard, and it doesn't bend to excuses. But here's the good news: the moment you take responsibility, you gain the power to change the score. You don't have to stay stuck in the results of yesterday's choices. You can begin today to plant new seeds. And though the harvest may take time, it will surely come. One of the most freeing moments in life is when you stop waiting for someone else to save you. No mentor, no company, no government, no relationship will ever fully fix your life. They can help, but the foundation must be responsibility. Because if you depend on others, you'll always be at their mercy. But when you take charge, you put your future back in your own hands. That freedom is worth more than comfort. That freedom is the starting point of greatness. There will always be people who live in excuses. They will defend them, justify them, and even take pride in them. But excuses will never feed your family, build your dreams, or leave a legacy. Only responsibility will. Excuses might win sympathy for a moment, but responsibility wins respect for a lifetime. Excuses might help you feel better today, but responsibility helps you live better tomorrow. Responsibility is not a burden, it is a gift. It is the belief that no matter where you are now, you hold the key to a different future. That is empowering. It means you are not stuck. It means you can grow, adapt, and rise. The moment you say, I am responsible, you release yourself from waiting and start creating. And that choice alone can transform your life more than any stroke of luck ever could. So, take inventory of your life. Where have you been blaming? Where have you been excusing? Where have you been waiting for others to change? Replace that with responsibility. Say to yourself, this is mine to change, mine to improve, mine to build. And then watch how quickly your perspective shifts. Challenges become opportunities. Failures become lessons. Setbacks become setups for a stronger comeback. At the end of your life, you won't look back and be proud of the excuses you made. You will only feel pride in the times you took ownership, faced reality, and shaped a better path. Responsibility gives you dignity. It gives you strength. It gives you freedom. It is not the easy road, but it is the only road that leads to lasting success and fulfillment. The choice is always in your hands. Excuses weaken you. Responsibility empowers you. One keeps you stuck, the other moves you forward. And the moment you choose responsibility, you begin to discover just how powerful you truly are. Life is governed by principles that cannot be ignored, and one of the most important of them all is the law of the harvest. You reap what you sow. It does not matter who you are, where you come from, or what your intentions may be. Life pays you back in the same currency you invest in it. If you plant laziness, you cannot harvest achievement. If you plant discipline, you cannot escape progress. If you plant negativity, you cannot expect joy. The seeds you plant daily, through your actions, choices, and habits, determine the harvest of your future. This truth is not just philosophy, it is reality. The farmer understands this law. He knows he cannot put nothing in the ground and expect something to grow. He also knows he cannot plant corn and reap wheat. The crop always matches the seed. Life works the same way. Many people are planting seeds of procrastination, excuses, and neglect, Yet they are surprised when their lives yield regret, frustration, and lack. Others are planting seeds of effort, consistency, and learning, and while their harvest may not appear overnight, it is guaranteed to come in due season. You cannot cheat this law. It is as certain as sunrise. Every action is a seed. Every choice is a seed. Every thought you nurture is a seed. And seeds do not stay small. They grow, multiply, and eventually dominate the field of your life. That is why small daily habits matter so much. Eating one unhealthy meal does not destroy your health, but repeat that choice daily, and the harvest is sickness. Skipping one day of discipline does not ruin your future, but skip often enough, and the harvest is mediocrity. On the other hand, read a little each day, save a little each week, practice a little each morning, and in time you will harvest wisdom, wealth, and mastery. The challenge is that the law of the harvest operates on delay. You do not plant today and reap tomorrow. There is always a season between sowing and reaping, and this is where many people fail. They plant good seeds for a short time, but because the harvest is not immediate, they give up. They start exercising, but after 2 weeks without visible results, they quit. They start a business, but after a few months of struggle, they abandon it. They forget that the harvest takes patience. Just because you do not see results right away, does not mean the seeds are not growing underground. Consistency is the price of the harvest. And make no mistake, the law works both ways. If you are careless with your seeds, the harvest will still come, but it will not be the one you want. Neglect is a seed. Complaining is a seed. Wasting time is a seed. Ignore your responsibilities today, and tomorrow will bring you the fruits of regret. It is not punishment. It is the natural outcome of what you planted. The soil does not discriminate. It gives back exactly what it receives. The beauty of this law is that you can change your harvest by changing your seeds. No matter what you have planted in the past, you can begin today to plant something new. Maybe you have planted years of poor choices and are living in the middle of that harvest now. Do not despair. Start sowing new seeds today. At first, it may feel like nothing is happening, but over time the new harvest will overtake the old. Just as weeds can be replaced by crops, regret can be replaced by growth, and failure can be replaced by success. This law also teaches responsibility. You cannot blame someone else for your harvest. If you were the one who planted the seeds. If your relationships are empty, ask yourself what kind of seeds you've been planting. Kindness, patience, or neglect. If your finances are unstable, look at the seeds. Were they savings, investments, or careless spending? If your career is stagnant, examine the seeds. Were they learning, hard work, or complacency? The harvest never lies. It reflects what was planted. Greatness does not come from one extraordinary act, but from many ordinary seeds planted consistently. A book is written one page at a time. A fortune is built one decision at a time. A body is shaped one workout at a time. A character is formed one choice at a time. The small daily sowing creates the large eventual harvest. That is why the little things matter, because over time, they are not little. They are the seeds of your destiny. And here is the most empowering truth. You hold the seeds in your hands. Every day you wake up with the power to plant something new. You decide whether today's seeds are discipline or laziness, growth or comfort, kindness or bitterness. And though the harvest may not be visible yet, it is already being shaped by what you choose. Your future is not an accident. It is a field waiting for the seeds you plant today. So never underestimate the power of one act of discipline, one choice of learning, one seed of kindness, one moment of effort. They may look small, but in time they grow into something that defines your entire life. Just as the farmer trusts the process, you must trust the law of the harvest. Plant with intention, nurture with patience, and when the season is right, your life will overflow with the results of what you consistently sowed. Failure is one of the most misunderstood parts of life. People see it as the opposite of success, as if failing means you are moving in the wrong direction. The truth is that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a vital part of it. Every achievement worth having is built on a foundation of failed attempts, lessons learned, and resilience tested. The road to success is paved with mistakes, setbacks, and disappointments, but each one of them holds a gift for those willing to pay attention. Most people fear failure because they think it defines them. They believe that if they fail, they are a failure. But failure is not who you are. It is only something you experience. It is feedback. It is information. It is the universe handing you a lesson about what does not work, so you can refine your approach and get closer to what does. Without failure, there is no growth, because growth comes from friction, correction, and improvement. Success is simply failure refined into wisdom. Think about how every skill is developed. A child learning to walk stumbles countless times before taking steady steps. No parent sees the falling as failure, they see it as progress. Without the stumbles, there would be no walking. The same is true for you. Every stumble is a necessary part of becoming stronger, smarter, and more capable. To fear failure is to fear growth itself. The problem is that many people quit too soon. The pain of failing once convinces them not to try again. They start a business, it doesn't work, so they decide entrepreneurship isn't for them. They attempt a new skill, find it difficult, and give up. They go after a goal, face rejection, and stop altogether. But those who succeed are not the ones who avoid failure. They are the ones who outlast it. They keep going when others give up. They use failure as fuel instead of as a reason to quit. Every great achievement in history has a long trail of failures behind it. Inventors, artists, athletes, leaders, they all stumbled repeatedly before their breakthroughs. Thomas Edison famously said, he did not fail thousands of times. When inventing the light bulb, he discovered thousands of ways that didn't work. Each so-called failure brought him closer to success. That mindset is what transforms failure from a dead end into a stepping stone. Failure also humbles you. It strips away arrogance and teaches you patience. It reminds you that growth is a process, not an instant event. It strengthens your character, teaching resilience, persistence, and courage. Without failure, success would make people shallow and careless. With failure, success becomes meaningful because you know the price you paid to achieve it. You value it more deeply because you remember the struggle. One of the greatest benefits of failure is that it reveals your true commitment. Anyone can say they want success, but only those who are willing to fail for it prove that they mean it. Failure asks the question, how badly do you want this? If your answer is strong enough, you will keep going despite the setbacks. If not, failure will expose that you were never truly committed. In this way, failure is not your enemy. It is your filter. It weeds out the half-hearted and strengthens the dedicated. Failure also forces creativity. When your first plan collapses, you are pushed to think differently, to innovate, to stretch beyond your comfort zone. Without failure, you would never explore new strategies or discover hidden abilities. Some of the most brilliant ideas were born out of failure, when the original plan crumbled and the person was forced to find another way. In that sense, failure is a teacher more powerful than success, because it demands growth. The pain of failure is temporary, but the lessons are permanent. You may feel embarrassed, discouraged, or frustrated when things don't work out. That is natural. But if you quit, that pain becomes permanent regret. If you rise again, the pain transforms into wisdom and strength. Failure only wins if you stop trying. As long as you get back up, you are still in the game, and the next attempt may be the one that works. Look at failure as an investment. Each setback is a payment you make into your future. The more you pay, the greater the return. It may take longer than you expected, and it may cost more than you imagined, but the return is worth it. Failure is not wasted if you learn from it. The only wasted failure is the one you refuse to examine. So the next time you stumble, don't hide from it. Don't let it define you. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? How can this make me better? Then adjust and try again. Success is not about avoiding mistakes. It is about mastering the art of using them. Every failure is a teacher in disguise, and the more you listen, the wiser you become. At the end of your journey, you will not remember every failure in detail. What you will remember is that you didn't quit, that you fell, learned, rose again, and kept moving forward. That persistence will become part of your identity, and the victories you achieve will carry the weight of every lesson earned through failure. Success built on failure is unshakable, because it has already survived storms. So embrace failure not as something to fear, but as something to expect, to welcome, to learn from. Let it shape you, strengthen you, and guide you. The road to success is not a straight line, it is a path of trial and error, of falling and rising. Failure is not the end. It is the process. And if you stay in the process, success is inevitable. Character is the foundation upon which every lasting success is built. Money can come and go, careers can rise and fall, reputations can shift with public opinion. But character remains the one thing that cannot be taken from you unless you surrender it. When all else is stripped away, who you are at your core is what truly matters. Wealth without character is dangerous, power without character is destructive, and success without character is hollow. But when you build character, you build a treasure more valuable than gold, because it sustains everything else you achieve. Character is not formed in a single moment. It is built in the small, often unseen decisions you make every day. It is shaped when no one is watching, when the easy option tempts you but you choose the right one instead. It grows when you keep your promises, when you stand by your values, when you resist shortcuts that would compromise your integrity. Each of those choices is like a brick laid in the foundation of your life. Over time, they form a structure strong enough to hold the weight of success. Many people chase external rewards, money, recognition, power, thinking those will give them fulfillment. But without character, those rewards turn into burdens. Money in the hands of someone without character is wasted, abused, or even destructive. Recognition without character inflates the ego and leads to arrogance. Power without character corrupts and eventually destroys the one who holds it. But in the hands of a person with strong character, those same things become tools for good, used to build, to uplift, to make a lasting difference. Character shows itself most clearly in adversity. It is easy to be kind when life is smooth, honest when things are convenient, disciplined when circumstances are favorable. But when pressure comes, when challenges hit, when temptation grows strong, that is when character is revealed. Just as fire tests the strength of metal, life tests the strength of your character. If your values crumble under pressure, they were never truly yours. But if you hold firm, even when it costs you, you prove to yourself and to the world that your character is real. True wealth is the respect you earn because of your character. People may admire your possessions or envy your success, but they only trust and respect you because of who you are. Trust is the currency of relationships, business, leadership, and influence. And trust is born out of character. A single dishonest act can destroy what years of success built, but a lifetime of integrity creates a reputation that no setback can erase. You may lose money, but if you have character, you can rebuild. You may lose opportunities, but if you have character, new doors will open. Character keeps you standing when everything else falls apart. Building character also means holding yourself accountable. It requires honesty about your flaws, humility to admit when you are wrong, and courage to make things right. It is not about pretending to be perfect. It is about striving to be better. No one respects perfection, but everyone respects growth. When people see that you hold yourself to a higher standard, even when it costs you comfort, you gain a kind of influence no title or paycheck could ever buy. The temptation of shortcuts will always be there. A little dishonesty here, a little compromise there, a small betrayal of values to gain something quickly. But every shortcut taken at the expense of character comes back to haunt you. It may seem like you gained something, but in reality you lost far more. You weakened your foundation, and sooner or later the cracks will show. The real winners are not those who take the easy path, but those who stay faithful to their principles, no matter how difficult the road. Character also shapes how you treat others. People with weak character use others for their own gain. They exploit, manipulate, and step over anyone to reach the top. But people with strong character lift others as they climb. They value fairness, kindness, and respect, not because it is convenient, but because it is right. In the long run, the one who builds others earns loyalty, trust, and love, while the one who uses others ends up alone. Think about legacy. Long after you are gone, no one will remember how much money you made or what possessions you owned. They will remember how you lived, how you treated people, how you stood by your values when it mattered. That is character's ultimate reward, a life that echoes beyond your years, a name that inspires, a story that gives others strength. Wealth may vanish, but character lives on in the memories of those you touched. And here is the truth. Character is always a choice. It is not something you are born with. It is something you build. Every day gives you opportunities to strengthen it. When you keep a promise, when you tell the truth, when you act with integrity, you are building wealth in the form of character. It may not show on your bank statement, but it shows in your peace of mind, your relationships, and your influence. So guard your character more than your possessions. Protect it more than your reputation, because reputation is what others think of you, but character is who you really are. If you have character, time will eventually fix reputation. If you lose character, reputation will collapse no matter how polished it looks today. Build character first, and everything else you achieve will have a foundation strong enough to last. In the end, character is the real wealth because it cannot be stolen, destroyed, or diminished by circumstances. It grows with every right choice, it shines brighter in adversity, and it leaves behind a legacy that outlives you. If you focus on building character, success will follow, respect will follow, fulfillment will follow. But even if everything else is taken from you, you will still have something priceless, the strength of who you are. The perfect time to start never arrives, and waiting for the right conditions is one of the greatest traps people fall into. Life does not hand you the ideal circumstances wrapped neatly with opportunity. It hands you what you have right now, where you are, with the tools you already possess. The truth is, the best time to start building the life you want is today, and the best place to begin is exactly where you stand. Too many people delay their dreams, waiting for more money, more knowledge, better connections, or the right season. But the waiting becomes endless, and before they realize it, years slip away, while their potential remains locked inside them. The people who achieve greatness are not those who waited for everything to be perfect. They are those who began imperfectly and grew along the way. Starting where you are does not mean settling for less. It means realizing that you already have enough to take the first step. A small step forward, even if uncertain, is infinitely more powerful than standing still with the perfect plan in your head. Action creates momentum, and momentum builds confidence. You may not know how the whole journey will unfold, but you don't need to. You only need to begin. Every great achievement started with a first move that seemed small, but it set the entire course of a person's future in motion. The fear of not being ready is the biggest enemy of progress. People tell themselves, "I'll start when I have more money," or "I'll begin when I feel more confident." But confidence is not a requirement for action. It is the result of action. Resources multiply for those who dare to use the little they have. Knowledge expands for those who start learning and applying. Strength grows in those who push forward even when they feel weak. If you wait to be fully ready, you will never start because growth only comes from doing. Think of the farmer. He does not wait until the soil is perfect, the rain is guaranteed, and the sun is shining every day before planting. He works with the season he is given. He sows seeds into the ground he has, with the tools available to him. It may not look like much in the beginning, just a few seeds buried in the dirt, but that is how harvest begins. If the farmer waits for certainty, he will miss the season entirely. The same principle applies to your life. The perfect conditions will never come, but the opportunity of today will always be available. Starting where you are also teaches humility. You may not begin with a grand stage, a vast audience, or massive wealth. You may begin small, unnoticed, even struggling. But in that small beginning lies strength. When you learn to build with little, you gain skills and resilience that prepare you for greater opportunities. Every giant oak tree was once a tiny acorn. Every successful person started in obscurity. The difference is that they did not despise small beginnings. They honored them by taking action anyway. Do not underestimate what you already have. You might think your resources are too limited, but often the limitation is not in resources, it is in vision. History is filled with examples of people who turned little into much, because they used what was in their hands. Some began with no money but built businesses through persistence. Others began with no formal education, but carved their own path through relentless learning. Some began with no connections but built powerful relationships by serving others. What matters is not what you lack but what you are willing to do with what you have. Every journey is made up of steps, and those steps must begin somewhere. If you are at the bottom of the mountain, the peak may seem far away, but the only way to reach it is to take that first step upward. Standing still will not make the peak come closer. Complaining about the height will not shorten the climb. Wishing for wings will not help. Only walking one step at a time will bring you nearer. And as you walk, you gain strength, perspective, and experience that prepare you for the next part of the climb. Starting where you are also frees you from the illusion of comparison. Too often, people look at others who are further ahead and feel discouraged. They say, "I don't have what they have, so why try?" But you cannot start at someone else's chapter 10. You can only begin at your own chapter 1. Every person you admire today once stood where you are, at the beginning. The difference is that they chose to start instead of waiting. Comparison paralyzes, but gratitude for where you are, and the courage to begin empowers. You may stumble when you start. You may face failures, rejection, and setbacks. But those experiences are not signs you should not have begun. They are the very experiences that shape you. Every mistake teaches you something valuable. Every obstacle builds your resilience. Every failure is a stepping stone toward wisdom and strength. You do not fail when you start and stumble. You fail only when you never start at all. The future belongs to those who act today. The life you dream of will not come to you fully formed. It must be built, brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. And the foundation of that life is laid the moment you decide to use what you have, where you are right now. You don't need more time, you need more courage. You don't need everything to be perfect. You need the faith to begin in imperfection. You don't need to wait for someday, you need to claim today. So stop waiting for permission, for perfect timing, for better conditions. Look at your hands, look at your resources, look at your opportunities, however small they seem, and begin. Because once you start, doors you never imagined will open. Help will appear. Resources will grow. Strength will increase. But none of that will happen until you take the first step. Begin now, where you are, with what you have, and you will discover that the journey itself will provide everything else you need.